All right. Sorry, that was rough. If we had a little technical difficulties, and we wouldn't have this trouble if people subscribe $4.99 a month on Anchor.fm. Down in the description below. Had to throw it out there. Had to say it. I had to say it. Too many technical difficulties, so we had to switch back to our old ways of doing Zoom. And
but hey, we're here. We're broadcasting. It's gonna be okay.
Right, and Jed and I are literally in the same apartment. He's out there, and I'm in here trying to run this. So, forgive us for any other problems. Here's to hoping it won't be an issue. But we do have exciting stuff for you today. It's going to be a short episode. It's only me and Jed this time, and we're looking forward to hearing you. Make sure you comment in the chat and everything. We'll take your chat maybe if there are chats. We'll take chats later. But for those of you who are listening on audio, we are live every Saturday at almost at 7. Sometimes we're a little late, so you're going to have to forgive us. But we do
we don't have technical difficulties.
Right, assuming we don't have technical difficulties. But we love to hear from you and talk to you and chat. We're going to try and do chat towards the end of the episode if anyone sends something. But take questions, maybe thoughts. And today we're going to be talking about Star Wars, our love and hate relationship with it, some of the fun stories, some of the sad stories. But before we get to that, we're going to do a little off the bat. We just recently watched Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, the reboot, or whatever you would want to call it. Jed, what are your thoughts on that show?
Well, to give a bit of background, when I first saw the trailer, and all the marketing, I thought this looks weird. It's probably going to be terrible, but I'm fascinated and I need to see it. And reviews started pouring out a few days ago, and everyone was saying it's weird, you gotta see it, but it's not terrible. It's actually really, really good. Way better than it has any right to be. So I watch it, and what do I think? It's really good. It's way better than it has any right to be. It's not perfect. I've heard the comparisons made that if it were just 10% better, this could be the next Lego movie or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's not that, but it is a movie you can take the family to, or I guess watch with the family at home since it's on Disney+. It's a ton of fun, very funny, some really witty writing, and just a few minor nitpicks of just if they just taken it 10% further, I think this would be one of the greatest movies of the year. As it is, probably going to be in the lower half of the top 10. We'll see.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I did grow up watching Chip and Dale, and so there was a lot of stuff in there that I was like, oh, hey, I kind of remember this. I remember it's in bits and pieces. Oh my gosh, bits and pieces of the show. So I really enjoyed it. I quoted it a lot today, just today in itself. We quoted it a lot. It's a really fun show, and I do recommend it. The fact that it wasn't shown in theaters and it's just ready for streaming is kind of awesome, in my opinion. I feel like they could have made quite a bit of money, but at the same time, maybe not, just because Chip and Dale is kind of a not so popular franchise. It did die.
It's neat.
Yeah, it's a very niche show. Which, funny enough, I say that because in the movie they make that comment of people don't watch this anymore. By the way, Andy Samberg, John Mulaney, did I say Mulaney? They play Chip and Dale, and it's hilarious. Great chemistry, super funny. A lot of references to other things. Definitely will watch again.
It's very much like how it's very similar to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I don't know what it was like when kids watched it then. I wasn't born then, but it was very much like, this is the Avengers. This is the greatest crossover ever. I mean, Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny in the same frame together, playing jokes on each other. That's awesome. Here, I have no idea how they were able to get some of the crossovers that they were able to. I don't know how much money they had to fork over to these different studios, or how badly they had to beg, or what bribes they had to pay. I don't know, but it's incredible. I do have to say, as somebody who never watched Chip and Dale, I just have this vague cultural awareness of them. I know some people may be upset with how little of the actual Rescue Rangers group there is. It's just at the very end. But I was totally fine with it just being Chip and Dale. I had a lot of fun with them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And as a guy who did watch it, I actually just enjoyed having Chip and Dale because it was kind of fun. It made things more fun.
Yeah.
No, the references to other things is hilarious as well.
J.K. Simmons was a lot of fun.
Oh, J.K. Simmons was hilarious, and Ugly Sonic.
Yes.
They did
We won't
Ugly.
say anymore.
They did Ugly Sonic justice. I'm just gonna say that.
Yes.
Which hard to give it justice, but they did it.
Yes. I don't know if I have any other thoughts. Don't want to spend too much time on it. Just way better than it has any right to be. A lot of fun.
Yep. Today's gonna be kind of a shorter episode, but yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the main part of the show. So, Jed, tell me, what do you love and hate about Star Wars?
Well, it's I guess it's fitting that we're doing this today, seeing as today is the 42nd anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. Came out in theaters 42 years ago today, and in many ways, that movie kind of embodies what I like so much about Star Wars. It's if you were to nitpick that movie by saying it doesn't forward the plot of the original trilogy, you'd probably be right. You know, the characters change, but what happens? The first one, the Empire loses its Death Star, and then in the last one, they defeat the Empire. What happens in this? They run away for a while. But for me, Star Wars isn't necessarily about story. It's about the storytelling, more specifically the power of allegorical storytelling. There's so much symbolism in Star Wars, so much, I forget exactly how he worded it, but Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi, this is actually before The Last Jedi came out, someone was complaining about how they couldn't relate to any of the bad guys in Star Wars because, am I supposed to relate to somebody who's, sad and gets angry and decides to join fascists and kill billions? I've never done that before. And he decided to jump in the conversation and say, no, but I'm guessing you have been sad before. I'm guessing you have been angry before. I'm guessing you may have wanted to rebel in some way against authority, maybe in a good way, maybe in a bad way. And you are able to watch Star Wars through these big dramatizations and say, okay, my issues, my life may not be as big and epic as this, but I can still apply these same things. George Lucas himself said the success of Star Wars comes from the psychological underpinnings, the idea that this is the hero's journey. This is, there's so much more to it than just cool lightsabers, blasters, starships, which, to be fair, are amazing, are incredible. I love those things too. They're a ton of fun. But if Star Wars was just a ton of fun, then it would be remembered today like, I don't know, Commando or Flash Gordon. It wouldn't be remembered as the thing that changed society and inspired millions to become filmmakers, or even not just become filmmakers or astronauts or whatever. The people who say, look, I don't know what I'm going to do in this pivotal moment of my life. What would Luke Skywalker do? What would Obi-Wan Kenobi do? What would Princess Leia do? And just looking at these people and learning from them. I think that fantasy is a strength it has over other genres is its ability to go big, and in going bigger, larger than life, they can tell truths that are easier than other ways. And at the end of the day, Star Wars, it's fantasy, it's not sci-fi. Sure, it has lasers, the lasers don't act like lasers. Sure, it has space, the space doesn't act like space. It's just fantasy storytelling, fantasy characters, fantasy world building, but with a few sci-fi set dressings. Yeah, at the end of the day, that's what I love about Star Wars.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I do like those points. I got nothing more to say, though. You pretty much got it. You pretty much got it all.
I know you've talked about the world building of Star Wars, and personally, this is something that I'm not as big on. Like, I appreciate its world building, but for me, it never that isn't what drew me to Star Wars. I don't know what do you like about the world building of Star Wars so much?
Because I like the idea of the Force is a mystery to it, and that has the biggest fantasy kind of put to it. Because sci-fi, I mean, if you think about like specifically science fiction, it's just like stuff that could happen. It's scientifically possible eventually.
Or even if it's not scientifically possible, it's still exploring ideas. Whereas fantasy is more about studying the human experience.
Mm-hmm. It broadens the idea of like the human mind is more than just science itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like dragons, we hear about it. Our minds take it to another level of what a dragon could be.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this case, the Force. The Force can be bigger. It can be bigger than what we think. And also on top of that, you got Jedi. They take a more. They're like the knights. They're chivalry and everything like that. You got the Sith, and it's just they're the bad guys, and they're all supposed to be kind of like wizards. I mean, Mandalorians think it best. They're like wizards. Shame. Anyways, and also they got all these different cultures involved. Instead of like dwarves and elves and stuff, they take it to a different route. We got different aliens. We got Kaminoans, and we got Wookiees. We have Jawas. We have all sorts of different things, and they all have their own culture. And it's just kind of cool for me to like think about that and how much more you can do with it. Because like how many Star Wars stories have we seen where it's following? Yeah, Jed's like, oh, don't get me started on Legends. Because I mean that's the cool thing about it is Legends. There are so many stories that have been written about this obscure Jedi or something, and like also Disney Plus is like they just had anime studios go for it with Star Wars. That's a bunch of stuff that's like, I can see that happening in a Star Wars universe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just the thing I fell in love with, that allegorical storytelling. That's only half of the success of Star Wars. It's what attracted me, but I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say that just as important is that ability to capture the wonder of everyone. Just that feeling of watching that very first movie. There's so much more to this than what we're seeing, and everyone, from comic book writers to anime showrunners to everyone, has said, there's so much more to this. I want to show something that no one has ever seen before. It's amazing.
Yeah, and the fact that they have these, it has the base world building things you need to make your own story out of it. Like, for example, I mean, we talked about what our favorite one out of that one was. It was the more black and white 3D animated one.
Yeah, the Duel.
The Duel. Yeah, where it's very like, wow, okay, they took it to the samurai where the Jedi and Sith were kind of based off of the samurai.
Mm-hmm.
And it took it to a whole new, like, different direction than what the movies did.
Yeah.
But because it had the base world building stuff of like, yeah, kyber crystals, lightsabers, they're known. Jedi, Sith, they're all known. And the Force is there. People understand the Force's presence. Droids are part of like just kind of the companions of the world. It had those base stories that they were able to make, or base building blocks. Then they're like, okay, I'm just gonna take that and make my own story with it. And it was cool. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Star Wars Visions is kind of this interesting little case.
Visions, that's what it's called.
Yeah, Star Wars Visions. It's just these different studios, and when you watch it, each one of them is showing a different thing that I love about Star Wars. Like with the Duel, it is those samurai Japanese filmmaking origins. If you're watching Love and Ocho, it's about family conflict, about fathers and sons and daughters, but also found family and adoption. Or you watch The Ninth Jedi, it's about plot and drama and plot twists and surprises and changing motivations. Or I'm forgetting the name of the last one, but it's about corruption and holding on to the right thing in the face of temptation. There's so many different things that Star Wars is, whether it's spectacle of cutting a double-sided Star Destroyer in half with a lightsaber the size of a skyscraper, or a quiet moment with a father and daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I just love the fantasy aspect of it all, because it feels like it's not part of our world.
No.
Whereas
at the same time, it may not be part of our world, but it captures everything amazing about us and our world.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of takes out the bad and brings in some of the good from that broadens our perspective in our world. Except for Alderaan, that kind of the closest thing to Earth blew up.
Yeah.
But
it's had some cool appearances in books. Like I love the book Leia, Princess of Alderaan.
I really like the Old Republic cinematic on Alderaan.
Yeah.
That was cool. Well, it's called Hope.
Hope.
Yeah, Hope. Go look it up if you haven't seen it. The older Star Wars Old Republic cinematic trailers are awesome. The latest one, whew.
Was it called Deception or something like that? I don't know.
No, not Deception. Deceived was the Temple. It might be Deception. I think it might have been Deception. Are you looking it up right now?
Yeah, Disorder.
Disorder. Okay, really good. But I mean, that stuff just adds more to it, like the fantasy aspect. Like there are ruins of civilizations who knew the Force so well that they were like pretty much the Force. They became the Force.
Right. That's one of the things that I love about good world building. Because for me, bad world building is like, hey, you have to know that the Jedi, they used crystals that were blessed on the ancient Sith planet of this that was converted by a Jedi or a Sith who became Jedi. It's called Brental 5. It was 5,000. Yeah, that doesn't matter. But like, if you watch the original trilogy, everything, all the technology, the ships, the places, it looks real. It feels real because it's dirty. It's worn down. It makes you feel like there used to be some really great stuff, but before the dark times, in these dark times, everything's turned to crap. But before the dark times, when we go back to the prequels, it's not that everything is perfect, but you see very sci-fi designs. Everything is clean and polished. This is the golden era. Then you go to the sequels, and everything has broken down further, and it's to the point where, okay, let's go look at ancient stuff. We're going to explore castles and ruins and ancient citadel. And so it does tell you so much about, okay, all of this is failing. We're going back to the beginnings to try and look for something new, something better. And so just those small things of just what the set looks like, or what technology looks like, or what a planet looks like, that tells or informs you so much about the story, what's going on, characters, the themes. That's good world building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like Star Wars kind of breakthrough for being able to give everyone something they can build off of. Because, I mean, have you ever thought of yourself whenever you see Star Wars, you're like, I wonder what I would do in a Star Wars universe?
100%. Whether it's like, I wonder if I'd be like a starship captain, just fly amongst the stars. What would I do if I was a Jedi? But also specific things, like if I was in this situation, would I strike down my father and join the Emperor? Would I give in and save my wife? Would I do this to save my friends, even if it meant losing my soul? What would I do?
Yeah, and I love it. And I talk about inserting yourself in Star Wars, and here we have VR technology. Just saying, I could use some more Star Wars stuff. Like, I don't know, go watch my pitch stop a while back ago. I'm talking to you, Disney. Hear me out. I don't want the money. I just want to play the game for free. You can make everyone else pay. You can make everyone else pay, but I want the game.
On that note, yeah, sometimes Star Wars frustrates us. It's
that was a great transition. Well done. I would pat myself on the back, but I didn't see that coming. I was just complaining.
Star Wars, as much as I love it, it is probably my favorite franchise out there. It is an endless source of frustration, and I don't want to say hate, because I've learned from Star Wars to try and let go of my hate. But oh my gosh, it's hard sometimes. Oh, I mean, it's as far as back as Return of the Jedi, me hating the Ewoks, or to put it lightly, mostly negative thoughts on the prequels, or certain other movies letting me down, or games or books or TV shows. I won't get into my feelings on the Book of Boba Fett today. It's very negative. But there's a lot for me to dislike. There's a lot for anyone to dislike. Star Wars is kind of like I think the best equivalent is James Bond, in where it's so obvious what to love about it. All these different things, and it's also so obvious what does not work at all in it. Oh gosh. I don't know. Robert, do you want to go first, or should I talk about what I hate about Star Wars?
Let's see. Let me take a look at what.
Yeah, we have
That's a
this
pretty
written
good one.
down
I'll go. I'll go pretty. Actually, it's funny because mine is kind of a. It really is a love-hate thing.
Mhm.
Yours, I totally agree with. I can see the dislike in that. Now the question is because ours are kind of almost similar. Almost.
Right.
I think mine is more well done than what you don't like.
Okay.
That
So you
makes
want me
sense.
to go into what I hate, and then you'll lead off of that?
Yeah. Let's go with that.
Okay. So what I hate. This is something. Keep in mind that I hate it when storytellers do it, and I hate it when the fans do it. This is prioritizing who would win in a fight over characterization and story. So like whether it's hey, who's a better character, Darth Maul or Kylo Ren? Well, Darth Maul would clearly kick Kylo Ren's butt. Yeah, but who cares? I mean, first off, no, he wouldn't. But that's an issue for another time. It's for me, the better character or the better story isn't the cooler one, and it's not the one who would be able to destroy the other. No, the better character is the one that has more characterization, more layers, more depth, more to relate to, or maybe not even relate to, but more that you find compelling. And that's why some of my least favorite characters, like General Grievous, are ones that many people find cool, but there's nothing underneath the cool for me, so I don't care about the cool. If people are very compelling, like say Din Djarin from The Mandalorian, Mando is cool, but there's so much under the surface, so I don't care that it's not just that he's cool. I love the character, and then I also love the cool stuff. Or even when it's not the fans, the storytellers, when it's like, oh, this would be a cool thing to do. It's like, yeah, but I don't care because you're not focusing on the story, the conflict, the inner characterization. Or, hey, you know what we should do is we should have this happen. Yeah, but why? Like, in what's it called? Like,
I think I have a good
Clones.
example. Okay, you get.
So Attack of the Clones, I hate the Yoda fight. One of the reasons I hate the Yoda fight is because of the characterization in Empire of this old hermit, this person who is wise, the person who understands fighting is something that is totally and completely wrong for the Jedi. It's one thing to defend others, but like, hey, you're getting away. I'm gonna freaking kill you. That didn't really jive with me, and I understand what they were trying to go for, that Yoda failed and he learned those things so that he could pass those lessons he learned from failure onto Luke. But the filmmaking itself was trying to show like, oh yeah, we're finally getting to see Yoda kick butt. But like, but I never wanted to see Yoda kick butt. Yoda was about how kicking butt is the wrong thing to look for. And so things like that is like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we had like Christopher Lee fighting Yoda? We've always wanted to see Yoda fight. Well, no, I didn't, because that doesn't fit the character and it didn't advance the story.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I can kind of see what you're talking about. Because, what I was thinking immediately was Cad Bane versus Boba Fett. No, you didn't want to get into it, but I'm going to get into it. One, because, first off, that is not how you do a fan service with a character. Because, one, I had my parents, they were watching it, and they were like, Cad Bane's kind of cool, but who is he? And I'm like, I need to go take a moment and cry.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, one, they were talking about, like, they had this little discussion, and Jed and I were having this discussion too. It's like, what they could have done is actually showed why it was so important. Like, they had potential there, but instead they just had a little fight. Cad Bane died in kind of a lame way, in my opinion.
It's almost as if they expected the audience to have seen unfinished Clone Wars arcs that a few diehard fans have seen. Or at least if you haven't seen them, to know what happens in them. But it's worse because even if you have seen those or watched them, that'll just make you more disappointed in how anticlimactic it was.
Right? And at the same time, it goes back to your prioritizing who would win. Mm-hmm. Boba Fett everyone knew, like, okay, well, Boba's going to win because it's the book of Boba Fett. Like, you don't feel any
Right.
ties, you don't feel any difference. Now, if they were to show, say, what happened in their past of why,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe I would. It puts more onto the table the weight of, like, okay, he needs to win this fight.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I may know he's going to win it, but at least it puts the weight on it.
Right. Like, if I know that Cad Bane and Boba Fett are going to fight, and okay, Boba Fett's the good guy, which I don't like, but that's a story for another time. Cad Bane's the bad guy. It's the book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett's going to win. Even if we know that, there can still be that cathartic weight lifting off our shoulders. Like, wow, look at him. He's overcoming this significant, painful thing from his past. This is him rising above. But as it was just kill the blue dude.
Yeah, no more Smurfs in my town.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel about that, because I totally agree with you on prioritizing a fight. What I do like is how they did with, like, Darth Maul, because in the very beginning it was kind of like, okay, he's a cool dude with horns. He's got
Yeah,
double
that was
sided
another
lightsaber.
example of maybe not who would win in a fight, but a fight for the sake of, oh, it's the end of the movie. Let's have a cool lightsaber fight, even though there was no character behind Maul and the story didn't build up to it.
Mhm. But then, like, in the Clone Wars series, we get to see when Maul comes back, he gets that character, and then when we see him fight Obi-Wan again, it brings more weight to the table because they have a history. And then he has to work with Ventress.
Asajj.
Yeah, he has to work with Ventress because they're too powerful for him. And I don't know, that is a better way to do it. But then you get these other fights where it's like, okay, that was really forced.
Pun intended.
Totally meant for that to happen. But this would be a good transition to turn mine. But do you have any more things you want to talk about on this?
Listen, I'm all for having a cool fight. Star Wars would not be Star Wars without a cool fight. I'm all for having, like, consistent power levels. Like, I don't want to see Jar Jar Binks beating up Darth Vader. That would be dumb. But
Misa, the real Dark Lord.
What's more important than who's more powerful or what's cool is what is the characterization behind it? How is this going to develop the story? Once you get that done, then absolutely go for awesome, cool fights and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like with Anakin and Obi-Wan. They kind of built up that fight on Mustafar.
They did. I really don't like how long it was. Like,
yeah,
the fight in the Northman was maybe 3-4 minutes, and I
it was
felt so much more impact.
so
because of
good.
it. Yes, but I did like the emotional core of that fight, even though it was drawn out too much.
Yeah. Have we talked about the Northman on the show?
I don't think so.
We'll do a quick.
Northman, we like it a lot. No doubt it's going to be on our top 10 list at the end of the year.
We might do a quick take on it. Well, I don't know. We'll think about it.
Sure.
But yeah. So speaking of, like, winning a fight, as far as, like, with characters and story, there is a character in the Clone Wars series where it actually was, in my opinion, really well done. Why? Because you actually don't know who will win this fight. Here's the thing. It was on Umbara, right? Yes. Umbara. Honestly, probably one of my favorite arcs and the most saddest arc I feel.
It's Apocalypse Now in Star Wars.
Yeah. So they're going, invading this planet. Anakin was leading the 501st, but then gets an emergency call from the Jedi Council, has to pull out, and another Jedi takes his place to lead the 501st. And this Jedi has been known to have so many casualties. Because he just Jet says it best. The Clone Wars is literally a slave fight. No, am I allowed to say that on YouTube? It's clones and droids. Anyways, giant fight, and he's one of those Jedis who are just like, just throw bodies at it, it'll work, and we'll win, we're victorious.
He always wins.
He always won, but he's suffered so many casualties and killed a lot of clones. And his name is General Pong Krell. I said it right this time, right?
Yes, you did.
I purposely say it wrong because I find it funny. But because we're talking about a serious topic, I have to be serious. Very serious. E.T. forgives Batman. Sorry. Chip and Dale, go watch it. But General Pong Krell, This dude is dangerous. Unlike General Grievous, who has 4 robotic arms, he's got 4 alien arms. Is he the same species as the guy in the bar?
Dexter Jettster, yes.
Yeah. So in the second movie?
Yep.
Yeah, second movie. Obi-Wan goes to a bar. He's like, Obi-Wan Kenobi. That guy. 4 arms. So same.
I do love the way he talks. Well, what do you know?
Yeah. What do you know? Yeah, so same species, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So imagine him, but a Jedi. He's just waving around lightsabers. They end up taking over the base, and a certain forward operating base to storm the capital. And the clones have lost so many people. Captain Rex and was it Fives or Echo?
I don't remember.
I know Jesse was part of it. He took a few clones that we kind of developed a relationship with throughout the series in the 501st, and they discussed about it because they are losing so many men. And to top it all off, they were ordered to go and attack another battalion of clones. They don't know it's clones though, because they were told by General Krell that the enemy has taken uniforms from the 212th and disguised themselves. So they were going and they're hunting the other battalion of enemies. And by the way, the 212th, they also were told that the enemy has taken 501st armor and is going around. So you got these 2 battalions going after each other, and they start fighting. And it wasn't until there was a lot of people who died till Rex realized we are doing friendly fire. We are killing each other, and then we find out that some of the clones that we knew from the series have died in that process. So they kind of give you this connection and they kill them, just give you a little more emotion for a clone, which I kind of like. I mean, I've always liked playing the clones of Battlefront personally. I like them more. But find this out. They realize that Krell has been trying to kill off the clones, which is kind of a crime, just a little bit.
It's just a property crime because they're slaves, right? They're not people.
Just a property crime. I mean, it's government property.
Yeah.
And the government don't like people touching their property.
Nope.
So the clones end up banding together and go to arrest Krell. And he wipes the floor with them. Like, he starts killing them left and right. Granted, it's not clones that we know in that, but it's still pretty intense. Him just wiping them out, and then he runs off and disappears in the forest. Mind you, Umbara is a very dark planet. It's a moon, right?
I think it is a planet, but it exists in this nebula that blocks out the sun. So, not accurate science, but either way, it just makes it so it's a planet that's always nighttime.
Super dark, so they're using night vision and stuff. Krell can disappear in those woods, and they have to come up with some way to capture him as clone troopers. These guys are fighting a very skilled Jedi. But long story short, even though I've already gone way long, they end up capturing him. He ends up getting arrested, but he's killed a lot of people. Now, why is he in my what I hate category? It has nothing to do with the fact that he's not good. I actually really like how they wrote him. I like how they did it. But I hate his character. They do so good that you hate him. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, I'm somebody who I'm not the biggest fan of Clone Wars. I'm not attached to the clones, but in that arc, all of a sudden, I don't care about the clones. All of a sudden, I do care about the clones, and a big part of it is because of how hateable Pong Krell is. It's not something that Star Wars did so bad. It's something that it did so good in making me just hate him. Maybe you forget the one rule that you're supposed to let go of your hate. I didn't care. He's that bad.
Yeah, which I was like, I hate him. I want to see him die. which is also kind of a good thing because it shows that they made a character that will make you root for the other side.
And not because they're the bad guy. You don't even know that he's one of the bad guys until like 3/4 of the way through the arc.
Yeah, which is like, let's see, I think the arc is a total of 3 episodes, right?
I think it's 4.
It's 4? I just remember it was only halfway through an episode you finally realized, and it was already like, I think 2 episodes in, so I think the third episode, halfway through, you're like, no, it was it was the third one because they went off and did something in the second one against orders. Third episode, they realized it because he sent them to go attack. And it was intense, and they made it so Pong Krell, because he enjoyed doing it. He enjoyed killing the clones. He enjoyed manipulating everybody. And, just grab him and shake him. So that's what I hate about it.
But it's amazing to see. It's amazing to see how something fictional, something we know is fictional, something that is so strange and so alien, can still generate these feelings in us, both positive and negative. I like to say, at the end of the day, it's only movies, but at the same time, there being movies doesn't make them any less important. Stories are one of the most powerful forces in shaping humanity, and culture would not be the same without the stories that we tell. And because of that, sure it's just words, or sure it's just images on a screen, we can choose to ignore it, but when it's done right, it has the power to change the way we see ourselves, the way we see each other, and who we want to be. So yeah, storytelling, good or bad, has a lot of enormous potential for power and change. So please focus on the good things in the future.
Yeah, right. So, I don't got anything else. You got anything else?
No, I was like talking about Star Wars. Next week we're going to be talking about our, Star Wars What If. There was a Marvel show recently, like, what if in this movie, this thing happened a little differently? And so we thought it'd be fun to do that with Star Wars, so you'll be hearing a few what ifs from us next week. But in the meantime, Robert, where can we be found?
We can be found on Instagram, and we'll be posting some stuff there soon. I know that's kind of empty now if you go look it up, but we'll be posting stuff soon. We have a project coming out, so pay attention. Hit the subscribe button. And then hit the bell. You can get the notification for when we post it. It'll be kind of fun. We figure we do a little fun Harry Potter stuff, kind of like Harry Potter What If fan stuff. Yeah. And also you can follow us on Twitter @ofcinematics. You might see a few clips here and there, or see a few shared posts on some good news for movies. And also, if you want to listen to our audio, go to anchor.fm and you can subscribe monthly and help us out for $4.99 a month. We got some guys going to college. Clearly not me. We could use your help. And I got nothing else. So follow us there.
All right. Well, in that case, next week hopefully we'll have the meets. But if we don't, Robert and I will be here to hopefully be on time. But we'll be here regardless.
Yep. So we'll see you next week at maybe 7. Bye-bye. Did I steal that from Markiplier? Am I going to get in trouble?